on the stage now. I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real. I'm feeling so ruthless. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up. It's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time. Nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride. I'm ready to throw down. It's time for the showdown. I'm ready to rise. Don't be surprised, I'll take on the world now. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top. We're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top. We're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up. I'm never going back down. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Racing's virtual Daytona International Speedway. Welcome, sim racing fans, to the We Turn Right to 150 for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series live on Racecraft TV. Happy that you're all able to join us on this beautiful Friday evening, wherever you're tuning in around the world. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside with me in the commentary booth is Jordan Hicks, and all car cameras tonight created by Istvan Ballo at TrackCams22.com. So Jordan, we entered tonight's race and we put Darlington, Bristol, Gateway, Kentucky, and more behind us, and we enter now to the first road course of the season. And not just any road course, it is the Daytona International Speedway road course. High banks in the corners, a very tricky infield section, a bus stop, and a chicane as well for these drivers to navigate. It's going to be a tough night for these drivers in all 44 of these laps.
You know, definitely. And last week we heard from the 23 of Stephen Thomas as he was feeling pretty confident coming off of his win last week, I believe. But he seemed pretty confident going into this round. And like you said, Josh, we're at the Daytona road course. Anything can happen here tonight.
Anything can and most likely will happen. Here's how the points sit as they currently come in. Stephen Thomas has that top spot, 292 points to his name. Robbie Richards not too far behind there in P2. Joey Doucette, Michael McKinnon, Jesse Schrage, your top five, with Devin Painter, Cody Knott, Brady LaBeouf, Eric Zimmerman, and Logan Quinn rounding out those top 10 spots. Beginning in the next round, we'll take a full look at your top 16 and the battle for the bubble spot as we start to wind our way down into the season and into the playoffs, because the top 16 in points, no wins are counted towards the playoffs like in real life NASCAR, purely the points that these drivers have. So that means that we'll be taking a look at the top 16 in points a little bit later on this season, beginning in the next round. Take a look where we are here at the Daytona International Speedway. Needs no introduction. It is titled the World Center of Racing for a reason. Everybody knows Daytona. Everybody wants to win at Daytona. Whether it is virtual or real world, everybody circles this track on their calendar. And this road course a bit unique as well, built specifically for the NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series for when they came here in 2020. It was reused here in 2021, and it features the exact same Daytona Beach road course layout that is famous with the Rolex 24 at Daytona, but then adds a chicane coming off of turn number 4 to lower the speeds for these cars barreling down into turn number 1, and there you can get a great shot at that chicane off of turn 4. Taking a look at tonight's race analysis as we get ready to go racing. 20 seconds left on the clock for qualifying. 44 laps they will go racing for tonight. Stage break at the end of lap 8, stage break at the end of lap 18 as well. And then we'll go racing all the way to the end to lap number 44. 4 sets of tires available to these drivers, so they will start on 1. They will have 3 extra sets available to them in the pit lane, then 75% fuel load in these trucks as well, and going to change up that pit strategy as we get started to race this evening. It's time to take a look at the starting grid as we get ready to go racing from virtual Daytona, and out in front taking that pole position is Keith Bradley in the 18, and what a lap time that was, a 1:57.495 for the number 18. Dustin Scruggs will start in P2, Kyle Hess in 3rd, Blake Lothe in 4th, Stephen Thomas in 5th, with Devin Painter rounding out the top 6. As we take a look further down, Brady LaBeouf will start in P7, Logan Quinn in 8th, Jacob Klinkart in 9th, with Dana Shepard rounding out those top 10 spots. Raul Meza, Taylor Peacock back from there to finish out the first 6 rows. Bill Lester, Clint Mata, Jeff Sickles, Chris Cinnamon, Robbie Richards, Jesse Schrage among the drivers willing not to take time. Joey Doucette, Cody Knott, Eric Zimmerman all not taking time, as well as Brandon Bullock, Steve Williams, and you can go back to Jose Luis Rivera at the tail of the field in 25th. That'll round out the starting grid, and we'll take a look at these drivers as they sit on the back straightaway, getting ready to take the green flag here from virtual Daytona. Jordan, who are you thinking as a possible favorite? Because Keith Bradley, Dustin Scruggs, they're looking fast up there, but Kyle Hess is looking for his 3rd win of the season. They're starting in P3.
You know, we got a lot of fast racers here tonight, but I gotta go with the 23 of Stephen Thomas because I'm just going based off of his confidence last week. He had an amazing race win last week, and I'm looking forward to see him cross that finish line first here tonight at Daytona.
And I definitely have to go with Kyle Hess. I mean, you take a look at his last 3 finishes, one of those being his win at Bristol Dirt. Not that great last week at Gateway, but then you look all the way back to Michigan International Speedway, second round of the season. He walked away with a win there as well. Excited to see what Kyle Hess is going to do, and also excited to see what Stephen Thomas is going to do in the number 23, who Jordan just spoke about. Of course, won last week at Gateway, so high expectations from him as he will enter this race. But it's Keith Bradley that is going to look to lead the field to green here from virtual Daytona. And they'll exit the bus stop. They'll exit turn number 4 and go on to the front straightaway here at Daytona and get ready to go racing. Remember, first stage, just 8 laps. And then we'll have that first stage break. Then lap number 18, we'll take a break for stage number 2. And then we'll go racing all the way to the end on lap number 44. Pace truck leading the field here at Daytona. They'll exit turn number 4, go through the specific to the NASCAR configuration of this track chicane, and we'll get ready to send them off in the night here at the Daytona road course. There they go, through the specific to NASCAR chicane. Make sure you stay off of those curbs. They are mighty high for these trucks. And as the pace truck pulls into the pit lane, field in the hands of Keith Bradley as we will go racing. This is Daytona. This is round 7. Full course caution called on the racetrack already. Issues for Taylor Peacock off of the start. Jordan, let's see what happened here.
You know, definitely a lot of cars gotten caught up in that turn 1. And you can see the 95 getting into the wall and then connecting with the 81 of Taylor Peacock. Not a great start of the night here at Daytona.
Issues there for the number 95, it looked like, as well. That's Bill Lester in the 95. Oh, he got into Raul Meza in front of him. A little bit too hard on the brakes, and that spun him around. And that led to everybody else around him ending up with damage, including the 81 of Taylor Peacock. But full course caution called on the racetrack, so we're going to be pacing now for a good bit of time. And we will see when we'll be going back to racing. But Keith Bradley with a good start out here on the racetrack, able to keep his lead. Everybody stayed relatively where they started, except for the drivers a little bit towards the back. Clint Mata being one of them in the number 7 machine. So Mata is now up into P number 12. After starting back there in P12, after starting back in P14, excuse me, up to P number 12 now in the number 7 machine. We are under caution, full course caution for the first time tonight. And we'll take a short break here on Racecraft TV. When we come back, green flag action back from the Daytona International Speedway. You're watching the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series live on Racecraft TV.
Travis Pastrana here. iRacing, climbing the clouds, Mount Washington Hill Climb available now. Check it out.
Welcome back to iRacing's virtual Daytona International Speedway, the NASCAR road course configuration for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. We turn right to 150. Joshua Lee back with you here in the booth alongside my colleague Jordan Hicks. And Jordan, we got roughly about a quarter of a lap in before a full course caution was called, but Keith Bradley with a good start, able to get that whole shot down into turn number 1. Looking stout at the front of this field, the Lawrenceburg, Indiana driver is.
You know, definitely, like you said, a great start for him, and everyone seemed to be just starting to get used to this track, and around the 81 of Taylor Peacock went with a few more drivers followed by him, and so this led us to our first caution of the night, but I'm looking forward to when we go back green next time by.
Henry's control just now using the command to put one to go out on the speedway. So field will go 2 by 2, and we'll be going back to racing this time by. Field completely unchanged up at the front from where they started. You have to go all the way back to Clint Mata to find the first driver who went positive on that restart, or on the initial start, I should say. We'll see who can go positive on this first restart of the night coming off of the first caution. So leading the field will be Keith Bradley, Dustin Scruggs to his outside, Kyle Hess, Blake Lothian, Stephen Thomas, the top 5. As we get ready to go back to racing, field pacing through turns 3 and 4 here at Daytona, but they will not be going directly to the tri-oval to take the green flag. They'll be working through that chicane placed at the exit of turn 4. They will not be reaching speeds of upwards of 180 miles an hour. They'll be reaching speeds upwards about 160 miles an hour. However, going down the back straightaway into the bus stop. We're not going to see pack racing tonight. We're going to see road course racing here from virtual Daytona. Pace car going to make its way back into pit lane. And Keith Bradley in control of the field as we'll rack him up again and go back to racing from Daytona. Field already gonna single file themselves out as they dive into 1. Bradley with a good start, looking to hold on to it. Blake Lothian getting hard on the brakes in the 59. He's gonna dive to the inside of Kyle Hess, take over P3 as they run their way through the infield section of Daytona. Into the International Horseshoe they go. Bradley able to hold on to Dustin Scruggs. And Stephen Thomas now trying to cut his way through the field. Devin Painter there as well in P6. Car around in the background. Robbie Richards in the 48 goes around at the exit of the International Horseshoe. Able to keep that car rolling. He'll get back onto the racetrack. But still out in front, Keith Bradley, and Jordan expecting Keith Bradley to pull away here because he was one of the faster trucks in qualifying, or was the fastest truck in qualifying, one of the faster trucks in practice. And it looks like Keith Bradley in the 18 looking very fast at the front of this field as he's already pulling away from Dustin Scruggs behind some upwards of 6/10.
You know, definitely a great start, like we were mentioning, from the 18, but Josh has got a big field behind him, especially that 23 of Stephen Thomas, how he's slowly making his way up to the top of this field, but the 18 is just running this track like a king right now, and he seems pretty unstoppable within the first part of this race.
Leads the field back into turn number 3, and great start for Keith Bradley. We'll see if he can keep it up as we work our way back onto the front straightaway. Dustin Scruggs now trying to fight from second place. And that number 11 machine also looking relatively quick out here on the track. And Jordan, we saw Dustin Scruggs have a bit of a late race resurgence in the Darlington Raceway a couple of rounds ago. Do we think we're going to see the same thing from Dustin Scruggs here? Because he won that really off of strategy, and I think some tire strategy might come into play and possibly some fuel strategy as well, especially in stage number 3. But Scruggs didn't show speed off the start in Darlington, but he's showing speed off the start here.
You know, he's just got to stay consistent, and like we're mentioning, he's got to follow a very great strategy if he wants to at least stay up in the top like he did in Darlington to come out with a great finish, because Josh, he's already up into P2 following the 18 of Keith Bradley as he gets a little squirrely onto the grass out of that turn, as there's a few cars following behind him, but he's keeping that spot. He's just got to stay consistent throughout this whole race and hopefully come out on top tonight.
Was able to keep that spot, and now he's going to try and defend on Blake Lothian in the 59, who sits behind him. Lothian, another one of those drivers, relatively quick. Haven't seen too much of him this season. Had a great run at Texas back in round number 1. We'll see if he's going to have anything for the driver of the number 11 machine, Dustin Scruggs, as they run back into the bus stop and back down the front straightaway here at Daytona. And nothing for Dustin Scruggs does Blake Lothian have, so he'll continue to pull away from that number 59. And battling a little bit further back, but not too far back, is Kyle Hess. Hard on the brakes going down into the chicane. That is going to lose him momentum as he had to avoid making contact with the 59 of Lothian. Here comes Stephen Thomas in the 23. He's now going to peek his way into the top 4. And Jordan, you talked about Stephen Thomas being confident as Kyle Hess goes hard on the brakes again. The 23 looks like he's buying his time, picking off race trucks as he can.
And that's the way you got to do it here at the road course, because anything can happen, especially in these trucks, because you can get turned around so quickly at it, especially in oval. But when you're braking that hard and possibly even downshifting in these trucks, that car can spin from underneath you and completely send you the other way around, in which you don't want to do. But the 23 is making it look easier, as it should here tonight at Daytona.
You mentioned making it look easy. That is exactly what he is doing out here on the track. And top 5 starting to separate out a little bit, and we'll go searching for battles throughout the midfield here in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. And it looks like Raul Meza in a bit of a battle. That's the 43 of Dana Shepard behind him. Meza able to get around the 43 of Shepard, now trying to defend that spot. Question is, will he be able to do so? He's able to do it for the time being, but you can see Jordan Dana Shepard right there in the number 43, about 2/10 back. But overtaking can be relatively difficult, I should say, because these braking zones in these NASCAR trucks are very long. Some of the longest braking zones that you could possibly have in road course racing. They need to brake a lot later than GT3 cars and much later than open wheel cars. So that could make passing a little bit difficult, because they're already braking as late as they possibly can to keep speed on the racetrack. If you brake any later than that, you run the risk of going off track or running into the car next to you that you're trying to pass.
You know, definitely, and if you mess up your braking zone, you could also open up a door for another driver that's behind you, and so you really want to make sure you're getting that braking zone nailed down to the most you can actually get it here on the track, because the last thing you want is losing your position to another driver out on this track.
We go on board the 23 of Stephen Thomas, running in P4 for the moment, as he works his way through the International Horseshoe, trying to reach that back bumper of Blake Lothian. We say trying to, because he really is. He's starting to fall back a little bit from the 59 now. Will he be able to catch up? And you can see in the braking zone, Jordan Stephen Thomas just a little bit better than the 59, but it just doesn't look like enough and he's still going to stay behind him. But as they go back onto the oval, we could see an opportunity for Stephen Thomas to pass going into the bus stop on the back straight.
You know, definitely, and when he was trying to get into his braking zone right there, he saw him get a little loose right there, and you can see the 59 pulling away slightly from the 23. But I'm curious to know what the 23 is going to do right now to hopefully make up that ground.
And as they work down the back straightaway, Stephen Thomas continuing there in second, or in that second spot of this battle, battling for third, so he is in fourth place for the moment. And he'll continue to fight from P4 as your leader remains Keith Bradley in the number 18. How long will he remain the leader is the question, and he is really pulling away for the rest of the field. 1.9 seconds, the current gap between the rest of the field and Keith Bradley at the front of this race. Closing in on the end of stage number 1, this will be the white flag lap for the stage, so one more time around for these drivers here at the Daytona International Speedway. And then we will see the end of stage number 1 of action here today. And Keith Bradley looking to put away another stage win out here on the track. And if he can do that, I believe it'll be his first of the season, which is going to be really big for him as a driver, Jordan, because we looked at his last 3 results. Definitely not stellar, all outside of the top 10. We could see some good results now from Keith Bradley. It's just a stage win starts that chain of confidence that Keith Bradley looks like he needs out there on the track.
You know, definitely, and it's like you said, it's going to put some confidence in him, and he's going to get a few stage points, and he's just going to hopefully feel good about himself and keep that confidence high throughout after stage 1, stage 2, and then followed by that final stage where we go all the way from lap 18 to that checkered flag. And so it'd just be a great night if he can keep up this, you know, this lead on the 11, and a nice way to pull out a stage win here tonight.
And he'll work his way into turn number 3 and 4. Make his way onto the front straightaway as well. And we will see a brand new stage winner here in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. Bringing it to the line, it'll be Keith Bradley in the 18. First time stage winner in this season, the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. And the full course caution is now called. We'll step away for a moment here on Racecraft TV, but don't go anywhere. More green flag action when we return from virtual Daytona.
trying to hear iRacing Climb to the Clouds, Mount Washington Hill Climb available now. Check it out.
Welcome back to iRacing's virtual Daytona International Speedway and live coverage of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series live on Racecraft TV. Once again, happy that all of you could join us live here tonight. Joshua Lee here with you in the booth alongside Jordan Hicks and Jordan Field just coming in for pit stops, and good pit stop for Keith Bradley. But Dustin Scruggs able to get out in front of him with a better pit lane time, and Blake Lothian electing not to pit last time by. Interesting strategy, and I don't think it's really going to play out how Blake Lothian was expecting, because I do think those fresh tires are going to come in handy for the rest of the field.
You know, especially when you're on a road course, you really need to make sure your turns can be as tight as possible and as close to the inside of that turn it can. And so with not having fresh tires, we've been going, Josh, for 11 laps right now. I would assume those tires are getting a little, if not a little, used up pretty well. And so I don't know if this is the best idea from the 59, because he's going to have to go a whole stage without getting another fresh of Goodyear's tires on that 59 machine.
We'll see how he is going to be running here on this restart, roughly about 2 laps before we will get back going here from virtual Daytona. So he will remain your race leader. We'll see as they come onto the front straightaway, presumably to take 1 lap to go before we go back green. We'll see if Lothian is going to elect to pit, or if he's going to elect to continue to stay out on the racetrack, and it looks like he's going to stay out for this next stage. So he's not going to take a set of tires until stage number 2. He will keep those 11 lap worn Goodyear tires on the race truck, and the lights go out on the iRacing official pace truck. We'll be going back to green this time by. Taking a look at the schedule for this NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series season, and a lot of great tracks on the horizon as we continue on with this season. The Daytona Road Course coming up on August 27th, as today, and then Pocono in 2 weeks' time. We are off next Friday, September the 3rd, so we will be here from the Pocono Raceway September 10th, September 17th from the Bristol Motor Speedway, September 24th from Las Vegas, and then we go to our first plate track of the season, October 1st at Talladega, October 8th at the Martinsville Speedway, October 15th at Phoenix, then October 22nd at Chicagoland, October 29th at Atlanta, and then we come back to Daytona, this time on the big track, the Super Speedway here at Daytona on November 5th. November 12th at Kansas, the November 19th at Asheville Super Speedway. We take a break week for Thanksgiving, then back December 3rd at Richmond. Then we round out the season December 10th at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And taking a look at the points as they currently sit as well coming into tonight's race. Stephen Thomas out in front, 292 points to his name. Robbie Richards in second. Doucette, McKinnon, and Schrage rounding out that top 5. But down from there, Devin Painter, Cody Knott, Brady LaBeouf, and Eric Zimmerman tied for 8th, and then Logan Quinn sitting in P10. Top 16 in the points will make it into the playoffs. If a driver receives a win, it will not guarantee them a spot in the playoffs. They need to make sure that they get consistent points out in each and every race. field, working their way down the back straightaway, getting ready to go back to green. You can see the straggler trucks in the back, grabbing their wave of rounds and grabbing late caution pit stops. Now working their way back up to the iRacing official pace truck and the pacing line. And we'll get ready to go back to racing. Dustin Scruggs now is going to start in second place. And we'll see how good Scruggs is going to be off of this restart. You can see one in his last start in Darlington, didn't make a start 1 week ago from Gateway. He's looking for another good finish here at the Daytona Road Course. Blake Lothian in the 59 will be in control of the field, and he is going to lead us back to green. As the iRacing pace truck makes its way off of turn number 4, they will make their way through the front stretch chicane and get ready to send them into turn number 1. Field is in the hands of Blake Lothian in the number 59. We are ready to go back to racing from Daytona. The green flag is out and we are back underway in the NASRA Triple M Pouring Truck Series from Daytona. Oh, and contact! Scruggs gets into Lothian. Lothian gets turned into turn number 1. He is stopped on the apron, and drama already on the restart.
You can see a whole lot of other cars trying to make it away from that wreck. And Josh, that was a pretty big one. P1 and P2 got taken out, as that was probably the big wreck of the race right now.
We'll grab a look at your Racecraft TV replay. And what an intense moment there from Blake Lothian. Here's the start. And you can see everybody barreling into turn number 1. And then look at that. Scruggs just goes right into the back of Lothian in the 59. Nobody else involved, but Scruggs now with front end damage. Curious to see if that 11 truck might be down on power as we continue in with this race. Lothian, of course, slow with the damage. Scruggs also gonna be towards the back of the field now. As out in front, just like that, it's Keith Bradley able to regain the lead here from virtual Daytona. And Jordan, it wasn't exactly, I think, how he thought he would get the lead. The top 2 trucks making contact with each other, but Keith Bradley right back out in front.
You know, definitely, and that's the way you do it. You just sit back and hope for something to happen, and I guess good luck was on the 18 side because both P1 and 2 got taken out, so that's going to throw them right back into the lead for stage 2.
And the stage break will be coming on lap number 18, so watch for that as we continue to look at battles up and down the running order currently. As we now put 13 laps behind us, go on to lap number 14, and Bradley looking stout at the front of this field. Brady LaBeouf now going to assume P number 2. Stephen Thomas in 3rd. And then you can go back to Kyle Hess in the number 86. Close battle between himself and Devin Painter, and a closer battle between himself and Chris Cinnamon as they work their way into the International Horseshoe. Hess is going to lock up that front tire. He's going to keep the truck under him. Doesn't go too wide. But Cinnamon now going to close in the battle for 5th. Cinnamon looking for another good finish out here on the track as well, Jordan.
You know, definitely he had a great race last week, and so we're looking to see if he can do it again as he's slowly trying to make his way up to the top of the field as he's sitting about 6th right now, looking to see if he can make a pass on the 86.
That crash in the 4th corner, that being that corner that we just saw Cinnamon go out of. Not sure who is involved. Truck's going too wide through there. That's Doucette and Peacock going too wide. Can't see any trucks off the racetrack, so will not have a full course caution. Bradley still out in front as Stephen Thomas starting now to close in on Brady LaBeouf, and LaBeouf in that number 9 not having the best season start, Jordan, but definitely not terrible. A top 3 at Kentucky is nothing to scoff at. but obviously looking for more success in that Mission 1 Esports NRE Power Systems Chevrolet Silverado, starting to work in it here at Daytona at P2 for the moment. Not holding a candle really to Keith Bradley, but able to hold off Stephen Thomas behind him.
You know, I was just going to mention, he's got a pretty tough competitor behind him, as the 23 is going to try and drop down on the bottom to make a pass, but the number 9 of LaBeouf, we saw him a few weeks ago. He seemed like he was running up in the top so many times, but he seems pretty consistent here tonight. And Josh, maybe the Daytona road course is his picking for his maybe favorite track right now.
Definitely looks like that could be the case, as Brady LaBeouf with a really good start to the evening. Can he keep that up is the question, and he's going to go around off the International Horseshoe. LaBeouf with a spin off of that corner. He's not going to lose too many positions. He'll go down to P6, but definitely not what he was looking for, Jordan, and so unfortunate for that number 9 machine.
You know, definitely, and that's just how quick you can lose it here, especially at a road course and in the Daytona road course with these trucks. Is you get on the throttle too early and you can completely just spin your car around, and you can see he gets a little loose on the straightaway right there, but he seems like he's trying to make up some ground once again to recover from that incident.
And they work their way off of, or out of the infield section back onto the banking. Now a close battle in between Hess and Painter once again. And you can see that gap between Kyle Hess and Devin Painter behind in the number 64, running relatively close together out here on the track, battling for P number 3. Already just about 3 laps until we see that caution flag fly for stage number 2. As Hess moves up to P3, it looked like a truck slow on the outside line. Not sure who that was, but they were falling way down the order. But Hess will continue to fight with Devin Painter, and you can see Chris Cinnamon in this battle as well. And they work their way into the infield section. Jordan, you mentioned Stephen Thomas at the beginning of this race being one of the drivers that you were watching. He's not having a terrible race out here, running in second place, but Keith Bradley is so far up the order. Looks like maybe some strategy might come into play if Stephen Thomas wants to get around the 18, because every restart so far, Bradley has pulled away.
You know, definitely, and he's got a 2.5 second gap on the 23, and so if Thomas wants to do it, as he gets a little loose right there, he saves it. But like I was saying, if he wants to get up to the 18 of Keith Bradley, he's really got to push, because that gap is just getting bigger and bigger lap by lap. About 3.3 seconds now as they're going to go into the Daytona International Raceway turn number 1. But like I was talking about, Keith Bradley is just so fast here in Daytona road course that the 23 has got to put something on that track and on the truck if he wants to make up that ground.
Steve Williams goes for a move on Logan Quinn. Logan Quinn going to be falling down the order now. Looked like possibly some issues for that number 44. He falls to 9th on the track. As we take a look at the intervals in between each of these drivers at the moment, Steve Williams looking to catch up to Raul Meza in front of him. About 0.6 the gap in between the 93 and the 24 as they race down the back straightaway here at Daytona. Back through the bus stop they go. Jacob Klinkart within striking distance of Dustin Scruggs. That 11 machine, Jordan, was, like we mentioned earlier, very fast and was able to get up into second place, and the 42 is going to spin himself around into the bus stop. Not what Klinkart was wanting there as he went up to the back bumper of Dustin Scruggs. But talking about the 11, you can see the damage to that front end. Not hearing any issues with the temps of that race truck, but he needs to be careful. That radiator could have a hole punched into it with that front end damage. That could knock him right out of this race.
You know, definitely, and with little damage, you can see a car up spin ahead.
Bobby Richards, 48.
And like I was saying, you know, such little damage on your truck can just completely knock out aerodynamics of what you really need to go fast here in the trucks, and especially in all of racing. And so the 11 machine seems okay, but those aerodynamics could be affecting him as he tries to make turn 1 look nice and tight. And he seems really consistent right now. Josh says he's going to try and fight to get back up into the top of the pack.
Back into the International Horseshoe, Scruggs goes. 2 laps remaining here in stage number 2. And Keith Bradley is looking to grab that second stage win, make it 2 in a row. He'll take the white flag this time by. Positions being shuffled around, and it looks like Dustin Scruggs able to get around the number 17 machine of Brandon Bullock. So Scruggs now is up into P11. Oh, and the 17 is going to spin it around off the exit of the infield section. Jordan, we haven't really discussed just the challenges of this race course, because it is very, very challenging, especially compared to some of the other road courses that NASCAR goes to. You can compare it to the Charlotte Roval, with it being pretty much half oval, half infield road course. But at Daytona, you have higher banks, you have a lot tighter corners, and you also have a lot harder braking zones, making this track very, very difficult. And with it being the only road course of the season, these drivers might not be properly prepared for a race like this.
You know, definitely coming off of an oval scene, it's really hard to get into the sort of routine of how a road course works. And so you really got to be careful on how you're, say, exiting your corners, entering your corners, just like how we're talking about braking zones. You really got to nail them if you want your car to completely stay straight off that turn, because especially in the trucks, they can completely turn on you around in like seconds, to a point where you can completely lose your car and lose positions.
Keith Bradley going to work his way out of the infield section. And Raul Meza is going to lose a spot to Dustin Scruggs. And it looks like he might have made a mistake going into the infield section. So the 93 will fall down the order a little bit, down into P11 currently. Close battles on the racetrack. You can see battle for 12th. Dana Shepard in the 43 to the inside of Brandon Bullock, and he is going to take that spot away for P12. But everybody is looking at Keith Bradley in the 18. He'll exit the bus stop through turns 3 and 4. He'll go on to the front straightaway. Go through the final front stretch chicane. And grabbing the stage number 2 victory as the 94 of Eric Zimmerman goes for a spin off of this final corner. Keith Bradley is going to walk away with a stage 2 victory from virtual Daytona. And as the yellow flag is called, we'll take a short break here on Racecraft TV. When we come back, updates from pit road and green flag action all the way to the end from virtual Daytona.
down here. iRacing, Climbing the Clouds, Mount Washington Hill Climb, available now. Check it out.